Hello, this is Tola from Trifold Productions with another Blender quick tip. And in this quick tip, I'm going to show you how you can cast shadows of objects onto models in Blender fairly easily by using the Gobolab Pro Addon. That's an add-on you have to pay for. And actually, they've added me to their affiliate program. This is the first affiliate program that I've been a part of, so I appreciate that. Thank you guys at Lab Sages for this opportunity. Really, thank you guys for that. I'll leave a link of it below the video so you guys can download yourselves and check it out. But it's about $15, and that's a sale price that they're having for a limited time only. And for what it can do, it's pretty impressive because it comes with a large library of Gobos textures. Now, I've done a tutorial on another Gobo add-on before, which was just an asset library, but this is an actual add-on that has all the parameters for adjusting the Gobos in the add-on itself on the side tool panel there. But like I said before, I'll leave a link of it below the video. Guys can download it and actually use it because it does a great job of using static Gobos textures and animated Gobos textures inside of the add-on. It's for Blender 4.0 to 4.3. I'm using 4.1 myself for this tutorial. And it renders in even cycles, but obviously cycles is better. And EVs is the EV aspect of it is a little bit different. I'll show you guys how to work with that. But the installation process is a little bit different. It comes with two zip folders. One is the add-on itself, and the other one is the texture library, which is quite large. It's about 2.42 gigabytes. So it's going to take some time for you to download it onto your system and maybe inside Blender. But the installation process besides that is still the same. Just go to Edit, Preferences, and click on Install. Navigate to that zip folder, which is the first one here, the add-on itself. Click on that and click on Install Add-on. I'm going to type in Gobo, excuse me. Actually, it's right here. Oh, Gobo, there it is. Gobo's right there. And then to install the Gobos textures, you have to actually extract the, unzip it and extract the files into a different separate open folder. And once you've done that, click on that folder icon. I'm going to go up a couple of steps and then double click on Import to and Import. Then when we come to Gobos, click on Accept. That way Blender and the add-on knows where those textures are. If you want to, just for the sake of just making sure that it's installed and saved, click on that the burger widget and click on Save Preferences, and then you're ready to go. Let's set up a little scene here so we can actually see the extent of how the add-on actually cast shadows on objects and models in Blender. We're going to left click and drag on these axes to pull the cube up. We're going to keep the cube. Press Shift A on our keyboard, go to Mesh, Plane, S to scale this up a little bit, and drag our mouse up. Shift A again on our keyboard, go to Mesh, and then we're going to go to Monkey. We're going to add Suzanne. Left click and drag on the Y-axis, left click and drag on the X-axis, and left click and drag on the Z-axis to pull her above the plane. That's the way I have our scene here. I'm going to show you what it looks like in Eevee, the setup in Eevee, and then after, or actually first, we're going to do cycles first. After cycles, then go to Eevee. But we're going to go to our render panel here, left click on that, click on Eevee, go to cycles. If your computer or PC or laptop is strong enough, the device for computing go from CPU to GPU, and then our samples in the viewport, left click in there and turn this to 128 because that's all the samples that we actually need, and left click on this icon to change the viewport shading to cycles, and that's our scene there. Now let's drag Suzanne over a little bit more because I want you guys to see how the shadows are cast on our model. So we're going to left click on the drop down menu. And now to get started, the first thing you have to do is click on the light source, which is the point light. Now the point light is a primary source of light for your scene. You don't really need the other lights because it works best with the point lights. And we're going to go scroll down and click on generate Gobos setup. Left click on that. And there we go. There's our scene there. And if we toggle through, these buttons are for toggling through the Gobos textures. And it comes, like I said, mentioned before, it comes with a lot of textures. There's a subcategory and there's a main category. In the main category, you have the caustics, the clouds, nature, patterns, windows, people, vehicle, fan, and animals. Those are all the still, static, non-moving, picture-based Gobos textures. The other ones down here, as you can tell, it says animated. So all these are moving, and these are all pretty cool when you see how they actually move on models, especially when it comes to the, let me see, the birds. I think there are birds in here. There's got to be birds. I remember seeing birds, animals, I guess it was, or birds. But it's just all great stuff. So we're going to toggle through with these two buttons. You can toggle through the categories, the subcategories. So we click over, gives us the thumbnail and also the textures as we see them on our models here. And you can see as the closer the models are to the light source, the less stretched the shadows are. Like it replicates real life shadow casting when it comes to how the shadows are laid on the models. And with Suzanne being so far away from the main light source, the shadows are longer. So it simulates actual life scenes, which is cool. You can scroll down here when it comes to finalizing Gobos, because with this add-on, you can actually layer the textures on top of each other. So you have to click on finalize Gobo setup. And once you've done that, it actually keeps that particular Gobos texture, there's a tongue twister, Gobos texture as it is. And then you click on add if you want to add another texture on top of it. And I'll show you guys how to do that also. If you go down, you can click on the Gobo settings. You can change the texture when it comes to the tiling of it on the X and the Y axis. So if you increase it here, you can see that it tiles it differently on the X axis location. Same thing on the Y axis. So you can customize it in that sense. You can rotate it on the Z axis. Let's click in there and type in 30. Enter. Gives us some more rotation on the layout of a texture. Scale it. You can make it smaller, shrink it down on the X axis and the Y axis to give you different looks. You can flip it on the vertically, flip it horizontally. You can change the color of the light source, left clicking there, and the color wheel pops up. You can change the blue, green, red, pink. Make it darker, lighter, so on and so forth. Change the power of it to also the emission strength, the sharpness of the shadows of the light source actually, and the sharpness of the Gobos textures also. You can change that. So it's pretty cool. You can actually import also, because that's further down. You can import your own texture into the add-on and use your own textures to cast shadows on your models. Also, that's great. It's just got a lot of parameters in it, a lot of things that are just cool about it. Now, if we go down to animated clouds, for example, let's click on that. So let's see what that looks like. See, our clouds are there. Can toggle once again different cloud settings. And let's turn this back to the, let's say the original parameters. Settings for the parameter, that was 1. This is also 1. This was 0. As you can see what it looks like without it having to adjust it, because the clouds look pretty good with the original default settings when it comes to the parameter settings here. Then it's back to 1 also, and 1. And there you go, you have your clouds there. So that looks great. You can toggle through once again, see what it all looks like. And it's just a phenomenal add-on, the way I look at it myself. And because this is animated, when you press play on your keyboard, you can see that the clouds are moving. I can tell I didn't get the original parameters right, but you get the idea of how you can adjust it and how it looks and so on and so forth. And it just does a great job. That's all I can say about this. For the most part, it just does a great job. Now, if we go to Eevee, I'm going to show you how it looks in Eevee when it comes to importing the Gobos textures in Eevee. So we're going to start a new scene. Go to File, New, General. Don't save. Give it a little bit of time to restart the scene. Okay, there it goes. It's pretty fast. So we're going to just keep our scene the way it is. Just drag this up here and go back to our add-on. Scroll down to where mine is and click on our light source, Gobolab Pro. Turn this from cycles to Eevee, and we're going to keep our render settings the same because it's already in Eevee. Left click on that icon right there, and then when we click on Generate Gobo Setup, it gives us the Gobo PNG image itself. Now, when I first did this on my own, I didn't understand how it worked, but the developers, they explained it to me. If you click on your light source, you can increase the radius to increase the size of the Gobo shadow on your model. Or, the way I found out, just left click on the Gobo PNG plane there and press S on your keyboard and just drag it up. So you can see that it actually does cast that same shadow onto our model there. The same setup, just toggle through, toggle through, toggle through. Now we're going to try to pick a lighter kind of texture so we can see how it looks when we layer it up. But let's go to a different texture here. Let's go to window, and we have our window there. And let's see if we can pick another one. Looks a little bit better. Okay, let's go with this one here because it has a lot of white in it. Now, if we want to layer up our Gobos textures, we have this casting this Gobos texture onto our model, and click on Finalize Gobo Setup. And now, when we click on another texture, let's go to Nature. We have our leaf there. Click on Add. And now it adds that leaf texture onto the Windows texture. So that's how you can layer up the textures, the Gobo textures, one on top of the other with the add-on. So that does a great job of doing that. Now don't worry about how it looks in terms of the viewports. When you render this out, it's going to have a better looking shadow appearance on it. Now I'll show you guys how you can import. And you can also delete the texture if you don't like it. Just press the minus button, and that deletes that texture, the window texture, and leaves the leaf texture there. And I'll show you guys how you can import your own textures into the add-on. Once again, let's start off with a new scene. So File, New, General, Don't Save. This is the best way I've seen when it comes to using add-ons in general. When it comes to Blender, it's always best to start a new scene when you want to add something new to your scene. You want to scrap the rest to avoid issues happening with Blender crashing or something kind of strange happening with the scene. So let's go back to our add-on here. Left click on Gobolab. Click on our light source. I'm going to leave it in Eevee still. So cycles to Eevee. Then we're going to scroll down to, let me see, Custom Gobo. The engine is cycles. Once again, turn that to Eevee. And we're going to click on our folder there. I'm going to navigate to where I've saved textures on my computer. Change my viewport. Click on this fruit here. Click on Accept. And change my viewport to Eevee. And then I'm going to click on Generate. And once again, we have our PNG Gobos image there. Left click and scale this up. And there we go, have our PNG of our Gobos, our image turned to a Gobos textures to cast a shadow on our model. Now it doesn't look like you can see the texture there, but you can change it to the point that you can actually see the texture. Let's click on that. And we're going to go down to the color ramp. Now, if we pull this closer, click on the second one here and pull this closer to the black. And as we pull it closer to the black point there, then we can start seeing more and more of that Gobos textures reflected onto our model. Let's scale this down a little bit more. Yeah, so that's how you can actually adjust and import your own textures into the add-on and make adjustments to it so you can actually see the casting of the shadow of the Gobos texture onto your model in Blender. But you guys need to download this add-on yourself and just kind of play around with it. Just go through the parameters, because there's a lot of fun parameters to explore, a lot of models to explore in the add-on. You can just, explore it and just have a great time with it, because it's a really great add-on. Okay, I just encourage, this is the first time I've actually encouraged people to actually, really encourage them this much to actually get an add-on, because this is a really great add-on. It really does a really great job of applying shadows to your models in Blender fairly easily. And that's today's Blender quick tip, the Gobolab Pro Addon. Download yourself and check it out. Hope you guys learned something from the tutorial, and hope you guys actually download it and actually use it. And once again, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, adios.